Let me say it simply. I mean, Kurosawa was my master and so many others. The master of so many other
you won't be hearing this
filmmakers
because
over
I'm
the
not
years.
sharing the audio.
And from the 1950s,
They can hear me
when
right
I was
now.
seeing his pictures for the first time
hear
in
you live.
America, through the end of his career as an artist in the 90s, I sat among generations of filmmakers and film lovers and watched those astonishing visions he was able to conjure up in his imagination and completely render them on the screen. Kurosawa's films had an awe-inspiring power, physical and graphic. His indelible compositions in movie after movie seemed to have been burned into the screen. When the great filmmaker Michael Powell saw Rashomon for the first time at the Little Carnegie Theater in Manhattan, his conception of what a film could be and what cinema could do was changed forever. Kurosawa had us in the hollow of his hand, he wrote later in his autobiography. Every image, every twist in the plot revealed a master. So here was one great artist, bowled over by another younger one. Michael was in his 40s when he saw Rashomon. And you can imagine how it felt for those of us who were younger, whose eyes were opening to movies as we saw our first Kurosawa pictures. You could imagine the shock of that level of mastery. If you want something really modern from Japan, just take a look at High and Low, Kurosawa. Widescreen, black and white, and it took me a little while to figure it out, but every movement of the characters, Mifune and all the people around him, were all designed. Everything was blocked in very precise form, so you get a very modern impression as you're watching the picture in that widescreen, black and white. And it's a very unique film. It feels modern, but there's a last section of it when it goes into the low part of the city with the drug addicts and this sort of thing. You really feel you're going into a kind of Bosch painting in a way. It almost becomes like science fiction. And it's a very beautiful film. In later years, I came to know Akira Kurosawa. He asked me to act in one of his last films, and of course I accepted. It was a remarkable experience to watch the true master at work. It was definitely unheard of for the actor to, I think, to ask for another take. I was not asking for an acting. I was saying, if he wants to use that, I don't know, with the English, it doesn't sound right, because I know I use the wrong words here, and it's just, so he said, all right, Sensei says you could do one more take.
And then, as if it's in a dream, the scene just paints itself for me.
By that time, I realized you don't ask for another take. If he's happy, but that's it. The man wants it. That's the end of it. Get out. Just leave him be. He's sitting there like this. He's sitting there. And he knows what he wants. He knows what he's doing. If it's the wrong English, he's got it in the other two takes. But I didn't know, so I just figured I'd help him. But he didn't need any help. But also the subtlety with the way he's working with the camera, you couldn't tell what he was doing, and he sat like an emperor in a way, but benevolent. Not I can ask to move the press. I can ask for another take. I can kind of get in there and respectfully. So when filmmaking runs that deep, it never really becomes familiar. It always feels like you're watching it for the first time. Akira Kurosawa taught us all so much and gave us so much. I felt the energy and excitement of those images, those movements, and those scenes transferred to me and to all the rest of us who sat there in the theater enthralled.
Welcome to Googoo Phone. The movie you have selected for tonight is Ikiru, starring talk show guest Alex Kliner. We hope you enjoy the movie. Hey everybody, it's the Googoo Good Movie Chat About, the best named talk show about movies that there ever was or ever will be. I'm not gonna dilly-dally any further. This isn't a show. I mean, I'm making up this format as I go. So I'm not gonna.
No way.
Part of the format is no dilly dallying, none dilly, none dally. So I will bring in hilarious writer, musician, podcaster of his own right, and just overall probably my oldest and best friend, Alex Kliner. Hello, Alex.
Oh my God! Yes, folks, it is an honor to be back. We are not allowing dilly dallying.
No,
we are only giving the good stuff. And Bobby, what an honor it is to be back on your internet, on Beyonce's internet. Once again, talking about cultural products.
Thank you.
This time, different from the tradition of live musical theater in the Western sense, and more of a cinematic film in the Eastern sense.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, of all the hundreds watching at home that don't know,
Many are saying this.
I used to host a very successful Twitch chat show. I mean, the more that I look back on Musical Theater is Good, actually, and some of the guests I had and the discussions and all those videos are, well, not all of them, because I was bad at recording some of them. So some of the most notable ones, such as with Evan Susser here in person in my apartment, that one's lost forever. But a lot of the videos, like with Mike Mitchell and Demi Lardner and lots
Alex
of
Kliner.
Several episodes with Alex Kliner, probably the most
Can't get rid of me.
Most co-hosted, the co-host with the most.
Most available guest.
Just the easiest discussion partner, we say. Will be is Alex on Musical Theater is Good, actually. But by the end of that show, it was mostly movie musicals anyway, because that's what you watch. Like,
and they're just so good.
Right. And that's what, because we got into slime tutorials a bit on there, and they have their uses and charms, and the pro shots are good and everything. But if people don't know, slime tutorials refers to a bootleg recording of the show, the live musical theater. See, I don't even remember what it's called anymore.
Also, a very specific fetish.
Yes. But that slime tutorial was what people would call it on YouTube, so that it was their little in phrase that to search for that, and that means musicals. But that's not supposed to be how you experience live theater, so it kind of just didn't work. But over the past few years, I have become extremely movie-pilled. Oh, shit! Bingen! One of the all-beloved, another former Musical Theater is Good guest. We love you, Hilda. Thank you for being in the chat. I don't
have any of this up, by the way. I'm just looking at your Discord. So
I should be sharing a live projection of the stream with you in the Discord that you should be able to maybe highlight.
I can make it bigger.
Yeah.
I see it.
I totally fucked up. I made a theme song for this show, and I forgot to play it at the beginning. Do you want to hear it?
Roll that shit. Roll it.
Oh wait, you can't hear it, can you? Toronto, Cannes, Berlin, and Sundance. Everybody chat about good movies. Chat about good movies. Chat about good movies. Good movies. Good movies. Oh wait, I really want you to hear it.
Just text it to me.
Okay, yeah, actually, I'm gonna
send it over the internet.
I'm gonna send it to you on our chat.
Okay.
For you to enjoy. What did I? Okay, yeah. Oh wait, no. Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Scrabble, thank you for the 9 gifted subs.
What?
Practicing my Twitch.
Oh, I was like, Abby, don't do that.
I'm trying to be a Twitcher.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, it's sending over to you, and I will play it again. Actually, no, let me know when you get it, and we'll listen to it one more time.
I mean, you want to try to sync this?
Well, I mean, just so you could hear. It doesn't have to be perfectly synced, but...
Okay, wait, it's loaded, and I am pressing... I'm a 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
So 3, 2, 1, go.
Toronto, Cannes, Berlin, and Sundance. Everybody chat about good movies. Chat about good movies. Chat about Good movies. Good movies. Good movies. Hang on. I realize I'm gonna do some stream work here live just because I think this is bad branding. I should actually say what this is like on the stream. How do I do text? Okay, here we go. We're gonna add a new text source. That's right. We're gonna let you hear the clickety clackety sounds of the keyboard. Just
ASMR.
That's right.
Wait, now that you're digging around with that, can I try this mic one more time?
Yes, we're gonna.
All right,
let's go.
Fuck, we're gonna fix it live.
Like it's the pilot. We're figuring it out. This is the pilot.
It's unaired, except it's airing.
Okay, yeah, no, it's nope. Alex has a very fancy mic setup that Discord hates. Yeah. Yeah, actually, this would be good. You should open up the stream so that you can kind of hear it on a delay what you sound like, because it has sounded like this the whole time for me. And as we've been trying to figure this out.
Okay.
I like it.
Now you can hear me perfectly.
Yeah.
It's,
and now that it's like the inboard microphone or whatever.
Exponentially cheaper, yeah.
Yep.
Just a professional music producer for a decade, and can't stream about.
But you didn't think about having to contend with the Discord application, so.
Is that a thing?
I mean, Discord just kind of sucks. Okay, wait, this is terrible.
I hear the communities there are really great for all types of people.
You can find a community for yourself for sure. This is terrible, but we're just gonna go with it. Is there anything else we can do to make this look better? No. Okay.
But are you looking at a preview thing?
Well, no. I was updating live. Now the name of the show is on the screen. Okay, so now we can start it. I have actually like segments lined up here. That's how I saw that I skipped the theme music, because I have that in my notes. I guess this is the intro, and I've introed the guest. Oh, so concessions. Alex, what are you drinking? Do you have like a water or anything now, or anything fancy? Just some water.
I'm drinking Los Angeles County tap water run through a Berkey knockoff gravity filter with ice cubes.
You stopped your like Sparklets deliveries or whatever? Isn't that what you guys do out there?
Sparklets?
Isn't that? I think I've heard them talk about that on Doughboys, maybe.
What is it?
It's like the delivery water. It's like I thought you had it when.
Wait, like normal ass water?
Yeah, but they like deliver like a big like the office water cooler jug.
Like, we're at the water cooler talking about Lost.
Yes.
Because it's George W. Bush coded.
Exactly.
No, I that's so wasteful, Bobby, to have all that plastic. So I'm actually going to hold you accountable for that.
I believe they're reusable glass bottles, but it's fine.
Okay, I don't care. Far better to spend $400
like I believe that
on a water tank that sits on the side of your sink and gravity, and then you have to switch the $100 filters every 6 months. That's less waste, especially when you get it from Amazon, because it comes so quickly.
I need to replace my full because like I've replaced the filters now several times on the sink attachment, for the water. And I think now it's time to just replace the whole attachment. After
you're talking about one of those like pure water filter. Yeah,
exactly
you have
that. Exactly that.
Yeah, and then I have a countertop ice maker, so I make my own.
I need to desalinate mine. It's really bad, and so I haven't used it in a while.
So, but pop off in the chat how you drink water.
I am drinking my favorite soda that has recently been reintroduced, the orange cream Coca-Cola.
No. There are two types of people in this world, and that is Doritos Locos Tacos people and Crunchy Taco people, and you're a Doritos Locos bitch.
I will get the Locos
for
sometimes.
Any little fucking silly gag.
I'm not as sold on the Locos Tacos because It's I don't get the Doritos enough in them, so I will often I will get them because they will be part of a package deal. Like it'll be like the Taco Bell box that has like a cheesy gordita crunch and like Cinna Twists or something else I want in there, and then it also and like I would get a taco and then it's like, well, if it's Doritos, that's fine. Like I'm not gonna tell you don't make it Doritos.
You can always swap it out on the app, you know.
I know I could, but I just don't.
But who wants a powdery fingers?
I like to have it as the chef intended. So
exactly. And when Mr. Coca-Cola, he said, orange vanilla is not in the Bible. None of those words, none of those ingredients.
It's back, baby. They have I will say they have a zero. I haven't tried it, but they do have these in a zero as well.
And the zero element usually makes the whole thing taste better.
Yeah,
so if you already love the flavor of orange, strawberry, whatever the fuck.
Well, there are people that like, because the zero products are different than the diet Coke products.
Bitch, I know.
Yeah, so people that like swear by having to get the zero version and that it's like too sweet to get otherwise, which I honestly understand, but I love my sweet treats. But I know that I'm atypical in that way.
Well, perhaps neurally, you know.
I would not. No, I am not going to be diagnosing myself today. Not at this time. Not at this time.
I've done a 360 degrees vis-a-vis the artificial sweet Coca-Cola products. I was a Diet Coke bitch.
I remember.
I've always been a woman with shoulder pads in the 90s.
Yes.
Ever since I was a small boy, I've always been like, well, I Slim Fast and a Diet Coke. I'm ready for work.
Mm-hmm.
And that was me at like 6. And then in Chicago, I got hip to the Coke Zero, and now I'm fully back on. And I try not to drink soda anymore. So what I do now is I buy Coca-Cola Classic, and I keep some in the fridge, and I don't want to drink it as much because it is heavy. Mm-hmm. So it keeps me. It's like if I actually want a soda, then I'll have the real thing, but I won't keep like nice like lighter ones around, and instead I'll drink water. And that's a tip for all you other men looking at the wrong end of 40.
Yeah, I mean, classic Coca-Cola Classic in the can, ice cold. That's like, yeah, I get that. If you want the soda.
Glass bottle.
Oh, do you get the Mexican Coke?
Well, you get it from Costco, you see.
Okay, but have you ever gotten your dick stuck in it?
No.
Sorry.
Is that a thing?
No, it's a song by the great Howell Dottie. I got my dick stuck in a Mexican Coke. It's a very good song. All right. So that's our concession. That's concessions. Now.
Wait, what do you? Oh, you had the thing. Any snackies?
I don't have any snackies with me right now.
No.
I didn't plan well enough. I think next I'm gonna try to make this more of a thing, and I'm gonna have better concessions for myself.
Except if we're not watching clips, and maybe we are. It is weird to just snack.
No, I think what I'm gonna
people are talking
right before we get into actually discussing the movie proper. I'm gonna play the trailer. Is what I'm gonna do, and then we will get into chatting. But I also wanted to talk about what was I know that you just watched this movie, like literally just before this. What was the last movie you watched before that?
Oh, I saw Paddington's
Paddington in Peru. That's right. You saw it earlier in the week. It was very cute.
Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't watched it yet. It is on my friend's Plex. I mean, no, it's my friend's legal movie theater that I'm going to pay tickets to.
Your friend has a legal movie theater at the back of his slime factory where he shoots tutorials.
That's right.
Paddington Peru is interesting. I don't know who's in the chat, if anyone's watching this. Sound off if you have seen it. And why did they make the sun so cheese dick coated? You'll have to see it to know what I'm talking about. But they basically make this like it's a sweet movie, and then they fully imply that the son is like a degenerate gooner. But it's like a family movie.
Well, I think that's how you become relatable to that
women
generation.
Underwear a bunch. He doesn't wash his clothes. He sprays it, and he's always on the computer in his room, and it's built an invention to slam the door when mom and dad come around, and then they have to entice him to get out of his room so that he can And then he said, I don't want to spoil the end.
Well,
that's not the main action of that's not what it's about. By the way.
It's all about
Paddington doesn't go to Peru to break a masturbation addiction for his would-be brother.
It's basically Beau is Afraid, but with Paddington. And just like in that movie, Parker Posey fucks Paddington to death. Anyway, now let's get into coming attractions then.
What about you? What was the last film you saw?
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Last night I watched Ben Affleck in The Accountant from 2016. Have you seen that?
No.
It's, you know what? It was like 3.5 star, like just middle of the road. I had fun. I mean, he is, and it's like explicitly said that he has autism, like more or less. And I would say, and so it's problematic portrayal, of course, because it's like, that makes him super powered at being like a forensic accountant, and also he's like his dad's from the army, and so he had training, like army training, and he's like can be a contract killer kind of guy too, sort of. But it's his.
It is 30 minutes to Wapner,
and it is like he does things like to relax. He plays loud as possible, like music and sounds, and like has flashing lights happen all around him to like try to like because his dad like was always like, no, we're gonna beat this out of you type of thing, and so he like still does that to this day. And anyway, it was kind of an interesting portrayal. I had like a crazy supporting cast of like J.K. Simmons and Anna Kendrick and Gene Smart and all these crazy folks.
And the guy from Walking Dead / The Bear.
Yeah. He plays. Well, I wouldn't say because there's a spoiler with his character, but Bernthal. John. What is it? What's his first name? Something Bernthal.
John Jon.
Yeah. Okay. That's what. John Bernthal. Yeah.
And they've returned for a sequel, it seems.
Yes. And that was what. On.
Coming attractions.
Well, but last Sunday, Abby and I went and saw Mickey 17, which was really funny because I was so jazzed after seeing it. I loved it. I came home, I was like, I want to stream. And I streamed for like 2.5 hours just playing, The Executive, which is a like sim movie studio game. And then I played Slay the Spire, and I watched all these old Dick Cavett interviews with like directors like Alfred Hitchcock and shit. And I forgot to talk about Mickey 17, which I loved so much. I had such a great time. But the trailer for The Accountant 2 did play before Mickey 17, and it did make me want to be like, maybe I should watch The Accountant. And it was exactly, some movies I like to say sometimes it's exactly what's on the box. It's like...
Yeah.
It's what you expected, and that's fine.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. Finish your thought, because I'm going to move on.
Oh, it's not really a thought. I just said I just Googled Mickey 17 just to, have pictures on Google, since I haven't seen it yet. And I'm very compelled by the character of Shrimp Eyes. It's played by Angus Imrie.
Wait, I don't know Shrimp Eyes. Wait, which one's Shrimp Eyes?
Go Google it.
Hang on.
It goes Robert Pattinson, Naomi Ackie, Steve Yeun, Anna Maria Vartolomei, Holiday Granger, Toni Collette, right after Toni Collette on the...
Shrimp Eyes is like... Is that the gangster that's like after him? I don't remember Shrimp Eyes.
Well...
I truly
realize.
Yeah, I don't. I apologize to this man. I do not know Shrimp Eyes.
This man.
I do not know Shrimp Eyes.
Speaking of, have you seen One of Them Days?
What's One of Them Days?
Keke Palmer.
That's her new movie with SZA.
Yeah, is it One of Them Days? Yeah.
No, it was like.
It's so fucking funny.
Issa Rae directed or produced it, or something, or wrote it.
Is that?
You don't know Issa Rae from the show on HBO?
Of course I do. Insecure?
Yes.
Of course I do.
That's the one. I couldn't think of the name.
No, but I don't know. I don't know.
I'll say another movie that I watched and I loved even more, and it was like exactly what was on the box. Was early this week. I watched Crimson Tide. Have you ever seen that movie?
That's like one of those Cold War movies, right?
Yeah, it's Gene Hackman and Denzel.
Denzel, yeah.
Gene Hackman's like a, like Cold Warrior, like, I got the order to fire the missile, but then like they get another order, but it gets cut off, and then Denzel's like, we have to see what the other order is, and it's like they're going at each other. It was really good.
And James Gandolfini's in that.
Yes,
shit. I haven't very fast at Googling. And having been someone who just spent just a few months ago, basically, fear of completion, I guess. But I binged The Sopranos all the way up through no, I didn't. I have 4 episodes left. I loved it so much, and I cannot bring myself to finish it.
Aww.
But that is to say that
Here, I'll give you a.
I'll
give you a preview of the end. The end, very very.
No,
end.
I know.
Don't stop. And now I'm gone.
And then he did, yeah.
Then it's
and I know that universally beloved decision.
I do love the ending.
I've heard people talk, smart people involved, creators and stuff, talk about it in interviews and stuff, and it makes total sense.
Yeah, I mean,
to do a move like that.
Also, I love I truly have, even if I don't like the choice myself, which in this case I do like the choice, but for example, the Seinfeld finale is bad. That's a very bad finale.
Yeah.
But I also really respect any creative that takes the choice of something to deliberately fuck with the fans. To me,
right.
to set
just,
them
pull
off
the Band-Aid. The show is going away. You're never going to be happy.
Something that he did do recently that I saw that was funny was that he kind of walked back being one of these woke ruined comedy guys. You could see almost him being oh wait, it's gonna get real ugly here. And he's like, I said that before. I don't stand by it. I think it's okay that comedy gets more difficult with times. And it's
Absolutely.
Dumbass.
It's such a lane for guys like that who are so fucking comfortable, assuming that there will always be a vaguely not even progressive, just liberal hegemony in American culture, and then in the last 2 months as it's barreled towards quite the opposite. It's it's easier to be the edgiest guy in the liberal tent than it is to be I have actually contributed to this.
Yeah, right.
So we just wish Jerry Seinfeld absolutely just continued doing all that great work.
Let nobody say elsewise that here on the Good Movie Chat About, we support Jerry Seinfeld, everything he does and has ever done, and that's basically it with that. Any movies that you're looking forward to in the coming attractions that are coming up, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be new movies. If there's if there's an avenue of film or something that you've been curious to explore more, or if there is a new movie coming out, what's in your coming attractions?
Okay, I'll tell you that I am kind of I don't know as many movies coming out. I think for me right now it's going to be working backwards. I need to see Sing Sing still. I need to see that documentary.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that either. No Other Land. I also need to see No Other
I don't know if I need to see The Brutalist because I do know what happened.
Watch the first half. The first half is really good.
That's what people are saying, and they're okay, we gotta do that. And then honestly, again, another great of Hollywood. And Bobby, please don't record this. I'm just kidding.
It certainly won't go right up on YouTube soon after we're done, so don't worry.
Okay, is it? Will it?
Yeah.
Cut this part. Flag this. I just think Adrian Brody's another one of the people support everything that he does and says, and how long it takes for him to say it is always really good.
Being the
those amazing children.
The stepfather of Harvey Weinstein's children.
He might not be the pervert dad. He's the pervert dad who stepped up. it's just that amazing woman and those amazing.
That's right.
Please get this.
And her wonderful work on Project Runway.
Yeah, I honestly don't really remember her. I don't have a problem with her, but that is all
I
I'm
think
saying. I need to catch up with those, and I absolutely
if I remember correctly, she replaced Nina Garcia, so we hate her.
I stopped watching way before that.
Oh my god, I stopped watching for a long time.
I do not need to see. I don't think the Minecraft movie.
I'm there opening day. No, I'm just kidding. Absolutely
Are you
not.
serious?
No. No.
Looks like there's a movie called Ballerina coming up. So we're doing
that's
one again.
That's a no. Ballerina is in the John Wick universe with with your girl from Blonde, Ana de Armas, which I know you were a big Blonde fan, which is a very divisive film, but it has its defenders, and I count you among them.
Yeah. I wouldn't say like I'm a defender. I wouldn't say like a massive fan. I think she was incredible in it, and I think that like. I do understand the criticism showing her this way, and yet I do feel like it probably was a little bit more close to how it actually was, considering those things, and saying something is hard to look at or on its face like offensive that a woman was treated this way does not undo the fact that it happened. So like,
and also like I think it's. And at least like in the novel that it's drawing from, which was not meant to be like the real facts, it was meant to be kind of like a impressionistic expressionist somewhere within that realm of like the emotional experience of what it must have been like, right? Like that's and like trapping you in that, and so. But I also understand people that are like, but I don't want to see that, and it's like, yeah, I respect that. Why would you? Like, why would you want to see that necessarily? But like. I also I get both sides here. I as always I'm a very enlightened centrist in all things. Yeah. That's how another thing is that's how I want to be remembered for sure.
Yeah, you're like a John Fetterman.
Yes, yeah, I'm very
ways to that respect.
I'm a huge fan of movies, and I love people that are involved in movies, getting involved in politics, like Ronald Reagan, another guy I love. Shrek becoming involved in politics is always really inspirational for me.
And you do love a basketball short,
yes.
Despite not having played varsity.
From the swamp to Braddock, Pennsylvania. Holding a shotgun on some innocent black man, and then to lieutenant governor to the Senate. Good job. He's truly like onions.
It's many layers.
Yes.
But that's kind of it. I really like the Conclave. I saw that one.
That was very you coded because we love our popes. Alex gets absolute credit for forcing me to watch Young Pope and New Pope. I give you full props.
I mean, there was nothing like them, and should it be a show that should still be on the air? No, but just that there were these two different kind of takes on that they were called. The whole thing was so fucking cool.
I love Young Pope and New Pope. We love Young and New Pope here. That the guy who did Young Pope, New Pope.
What if the Pope lasted 6?
Paolo Sorrentino. He had a movie an A24 movie, in fact, that came out last year called Parthenope, I think, or Parthenope. I think it's Parthenope because it's Greek. It takes place in a Greek isle, and it's a hot girl that's named after the island or something, and. I saw a trailer for it, but then everything I've heard about it was that it was really, really bad. And I bet it's really horny Italian man bad. So I have wanted to watch it, just because I'm interested in what that guy does.
Okay, it is Parthenope according to.
Okay, yeah.
YouTube.
And the only person that I know whose name I know in it is Gary Oldman, I believe. Okay. Well, that's the coming attractions. Oh, I guess what's coming attractions for me? I mean, I love all film. I basically love all film. On my local multiplex, there is they've recently gotten I'm Still Here, which I'm very excited to watch.
Oh yeah, I gotta see that one too.
So I'm excited to watch I'm Still Here. The other one that I want to watch because it looks really bad, and I may need to get your Netflix login again, Alex, for this. It looks like truly one of the worst movies, and not just in bad in a way, as everybody has said, that like exemplifies all thing that's bad with big budget studio movies, is the new Netflix film from the Russo brothers, The Electric State.
Oh, I've heard this.
It like cost so much money. It cost like $320 million.
That's right. Yeah.
For a movie that no one will remember, that like at most people will have on while they like do the dishes or whatever, or they like look at their phone and it's like background noise, and it costs $320 million and is like a total nothing of a movie. So I'm very excited to watch that.
Oh, that's where that like kind of like controversy. Like, because how old is Millie Bobby Brown in real life? Like, still a child, pretty much.
I think she's in her 20s now, isn't she?
She's 21.
Okay.
But like, yeah, she's had a wild like time on the internet.
Yeah. So she was like,
and people are always chirping.
So she was like literally like 12 or 13 when she came onto the scene. Then that's fucked.
And while I do think, I objectively think one of the funniest things to ever happen on the internet was lighthearted jokes about her being homophobic. I do think driving her off the internet is terrible. But
Alex was into some shit posting.
I wasn't involved. I didn't even know.
No, you just enjoyed it.
I watched a YouTube about it after, and it was narrated by, I forget the creator's name, but it was narrated by a guy who has like the funniest, like I think like UK sounding accent, but with like such a light timbre that his saying the fake like tweets by her, like just ran over an F slur, it was one of the funniest, most transformative moments of my internet.
You showed me these videos. They were great.
They're so fucking funny.
All right, so let's get into the 2.5 hour movie that I made you watch about death.
2.5 Men.
That's right. Actually, I'm gonna. Oh no! Do I hear chips going off?
Oh my god! How can? Yeah, he's outside though.
Oh, that's all right. I mean, he doesn't bark much. That's why I was surprised. That's Alex's. Oh, okay. Alex's little Chihuahua guy.
Chihuini. Hold on. I'm gonna mute and then call him in.
Okay. Do it. That's actually great because I'm gonna briefly. I'm gonna stop sharing and then I'm gonna share again with audio and see if that breaks everything. All right, so now you should be able to hear the trailer, I think, when I play it.
Amazing.
All right, so, so this is the movie that we watched. This is Ikiru by Akira Kurosawa. This is the original trailer in Japanese. Oh, wait, no, this isn't the one I wanted. Sorry.
Yeah, man, trailers used to be so different.
Wait, I shouldn't be. Don't look at my YouTube.
Motherfucker doesn't have a preview window.
Okay, wait, I got it. Okay, now it's ready. This ain't it, Chief. This ain't it, Chief. This was your favorite part in the Boogie Woogie Club.
When they did the Boogie Woogie, I said, "Oh, get."
Yes, the bunny.
こんなもんでも作ってると楽しいわよ。ねえ、課長さんもなんか作ってみたら？
A poem of twilight that will touch your heart. I love that. Yeah. The wizard. Okay. I love the bit of context it gives us at the end about Kurosawa. So yeah, this was his first movie that he made after hitting like his biggest worldwide hit ever in Rashomon. Now, have you seen any other Kurosawa? Have you seen Rashomon or any of his other movies?
I've not actually.
But you've of course heard, I'm sure, of Rashomon.
Yeah.
Right. Like you get it. It's so Rashomon would be it's a movie about it all takes place after everything's happened and there's been basically a trial or trying to understand what happened with this. It's not a court trial necessarily, but a woman who has been as they say on the internet, Ard, and
she got Ard hard.
Yeah, and then it's the different tellings of how it happened. Oh, and she got Ard, and her husband, a samurai, was killed, and the story is told from her perspective, from the accused perspective, from a bystander's perspective, and then finally they get a medium to come and tell the dead husband's perspective, to challenging that as well. And it's a very beautiful film. Anyway, and so the whole idea of like multiple versions of the story and kind of thing, it was a really revolutionary, and it was the best foreign language film, and it won the Venice Film Festival and I think Cannes and all kinds of stuff. So this movie,
and much shorter too, it seems.
Yeah, also I'll say that's his shortest, I think, movie. I don't think he has another that's as short as Rashomon at 90 minutes. I did think afterwards, I was like, maybe I should have had him watch Rashomon because it's shorter.
No, I honestly, I know that you've been on your Japanese kick for a while. It's not uncommon for a young man such as yourself to seek new adventures and cultural products from the East.
Yes.
I myself had not followed. Besides pretending to like Ghost in the Shell as a youth.
Well, I would think you'd have been more Akira.
Well, I just really liked the way that the music that kicks off Ghost in the Shell sounded.
Oh, sure.
And I now know that's kind of
anime
it's
has
almost like Balkan singing.
Anime has the
Which is-
best music, like always.
We the best music. And I gotta thank you for this.
Yeah, what's your
For-
overall
You say
reaction?
making. I'm curious to die. I mean, I feel like an idiot, talking about this movie in any kind of way, given how it's a part of this, auteur's filmography that has so much meaning. What does it say?
No, this is our friend Source Force doing a joke because there was
I
a
should read
hidden
the chat.
message that only you should be able to see it because I believe you're also a mod. From cheap viewers on streamboo.com and remove the space and then there's a code. So that was hidden from the chat, but unless you're a mod. So I had already banned them and then Source made sure we got the message, and I appreciate that. I do.
Amazing. Thanking you. It was. I thought it was rad. I mean, so different. Like, in a way, there's so many things that it's like it screams "It's a Wonderful Life."
Right.
I mean, it just absolutely is. It's a Wonderful Life in so many ways. It also is likely a part of the Parks and Rec cinematic universe. I believe that the pit that our guy filled in would later go on to become Pawnee,
Oh,
Indiana.
yes, I see it
Yeah.
now. I see it now. That was the initial thing in Parks and Rec as well, was that there was a pit
Exactly,
next
the
to
inciting
Anne's
incident.
next to Anne's house. That's right.
That's right, and Chris fell in the pit.
That's right.
There's a song, Little Sebastian, a small horse.
And in this movie, there is a open sewage.
Yeah.
That the parents are very concerned about their children playing near.
And it's attracting mosquito.
Right.
And no one likes this. And there's a group of women who, I guess, travel together to complain.
Mm-hmm.
And they're given the runaround. I don't know enough about filmmaking history, but the montages, there's a couple here.
Mm-hmm.
They're girthy, maybe because also everyone has ADD now and content should only
Right.
be 90 seconds, much less 90 minutes, much less 2.5 hours.
I mean, you have to
much
think
less
about
The
it
Brutalist, but
you go into the theater, everybody's dressed up and they're sitting and it's these huge movie houses and you're sitting there with your popcorn and this is your huge event, for the day, if not for the week, this is it was. So yeah, there is, I think, an element, and not just in Japanese filmmaking, but yeah, all across, where that they take their time with things sometimes, and they really. But I also, the montage at the beginning where they're being pushed around to all the different departments. Actually, you know what that reminds me of is The Wire. The Wire, I believe, season 4, when Cuddy wants to create the kids season, right? When he wants to make a boxing gym for kids to help them stay off the streets, and he goes to City Hall, and it's the same kind of thing where he gets. I bet you they were consciously even referencing Ikiru, because this is one of So there's something I love about this movie, both in its universality and also its cultural specificity. The way that it does both. It reveals so much about Japanese culture at the time, and just the sort of culture of what it is to be a Japanese person, or that as you get older, and I think that's why I wanted this for the first movie, is because it says such a strong statement of put on a movie and let it sort of take you to a world and show you something, and it's a whole complete package. And I really feel that way about all of Kurosawa's movies, and this was the one that's it's not even technically my favorite, it's my second favorite Kurosawa film. My favorite is High and Low, but this one is very close. It's a very close second, and it's just it's a complete total journey. And one of the things that it shows well for the Japanese of what it shows in Japanese culture is bureaucracy, which is something that Kurosawa talks about in other films as well, The Bad Sleep Well, which is... So, Alex, I don't know if you know this. Kurosawa did 3 different Shakespeare adaptations. Are you aware of this?
No, I'm not.
Have you heard of Ran? That might be the one that is maybe most well known. Ran is an adaptation of King Lear, and it is set in samurai times, and because it's sexism, that he doesn't, it's not his daughters, it is his sons, but it's because it's samurai sort of shit, and him splitting his kingdom and all that kind of stuff, and it's like the same sort of, and it even has like a fool who's really awesome. The fool is really great.
And it was 1985. This dude made movies.
Yeah, he made his last movie was in like 93, I want to say, or somewhere or other. He died in the 90s. But Ran would have been his third to last movie. And that was one of his color movies. High and Low, my favorite of his, was the last movie he made in black and white. That was in 62 or 64.
63.
Okay. And
I Googled.
And then he did a bunch of color movies. It became harder for him to get his movies financed in Japan. Like, especially after he had some movies that didn't do as well, like Dodes'ka-den and stuff. So that by the time he got to like the late 70s, his movies were getting executive produced by Francis Ford Coppola and George Lucas, who were found their love of film, like, or when they were in film school would go to like the theater and watch whatever. I mean, George Lucas is extremely influenced by Kurosawa. Literally, The Hidden Fortress has a huge noticeable influence on Star Wars, the plot of it, and Seven Samurai. Now, Seven Samurai is like the popular pick for best Kurosawa, and that's probably my number 3, I would say.
And that's the one that came out directly after Ikiru.
Yeah. And that one took like almost 2 years to film. That's Abby's favorite. And that one is 3.5 hours long. And
Jesus Christ.
It has an intermission, which is great. And I actually think that, like, if you wanted to, and this is the thing about an old movie where you tell somebody, yeah, it's 3.5 hours. They're like, ah. But if I was like, oh yeah, there's this really great miniseries that's like so cool, and it's only 4 episodes, and the episodes are an hour each. You wouldn't blink, you know. And so a 3.5 hour movie with an intermission, that's like that's like what that is. Like, you just stop at the intermission if you're I mean, you check with yourself at intermission. You're like, okay, can I maybe take a little break and go to the bathroom and finish it, or maybe I'll finish it tomorrow. And like, usually the intermission is very intentionally placed to like.
What if you don't let yourself go to the bathroom though? What if you say no?
Well, you might be diped up. You might be diped.
You gotta be diped up. You gotta be diped up.
I mean, that's my movie preference is diped. If I'm watching a movie, I'm diped.
I got type 2 diabetes.
Speaking of diapers, old men.
Yes, they do be working. Okay, so a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know Kurosawa's politics, and I know that they're not analogous to probably 1-to-1 to here, though maybe in many ways during his time. I think he was just saying that we needed like an Elon Musk to go in and take a chainsaw to all that bureaucracy so we can start building parks. You said the government is not it. Maybe fewer of these men sitting around crisscross applesauce having hot pot and tea. So I think I think Kurosawa's MAGA, and I do think that this movie was MAGA.
Okay, I will gently push back and say that please, I think that this is a perfect example of showing like sort of the good that government can do if it is people that want to serve the people and think about how they can help their communities.
Choices for themselves. They don't need a nanny state saying, "Oh, you need park here."
They can bootstrap their own swing set. Damn it!
Exactly. Maybe instead of like walking around as a group of women being like, "Oh, fix it," you could be walking around, like starting a small business.
That's right.
Maybe like a vaguely gun-related coffee brand,
or maybe making little mechanical bunny rabbits that jump around.
On the serious note, though, and I don't know how like the format of this, if we're assuming that do we need to walk the viewer through it?
No, actually, I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you said that, because one of the things I am eschewing on this is I'm not going to do a plot by plot, like a beat by beat breakdown through the plot. If you want that, go to Wikipedia and read it. I'll give you the quick synopsis. Old man finds out he's dying after feeling
Stomach
like
cancer.
after feeling like he's wasted the last at least decades of his life in this government job where he's now the head of his department. He struggles with the news. He doesn't know how to spend the rest of his days. He feels not connected to his son, whose son kind of is resenting him, or at least that's the impression he's getting.
Son's an ass. We can go over that later. I don't
So
get much to him.
he first goes out on like a bender, and he finds a guy that he can go drinking with, and they go to bars, and he's like, maybe I'll just like live it up, and that doesn't really work. And then he reconnects with one of his employees who needs him to sign her. She wants to quit, and he's been gone, and no one knows where he's been from work. So she tracks him down, and he signs. And then he learns from her, because she's so young and full of life, and he's like kind of obsessed with like getting her presents and stuff. Which then people think that they're dating, and that's not what's happening, but it's a whole thing. Anyway, eventually he remembers, as Alex references, right at the very first thing in the movie, all these housewives and mothers that descend on his department to try to do something about this open sewage, and maybe
They're always, and by the way, they're literally always depicted in a cluster, in
Yes.
a well like choreographed cluster that moves at various levels,
it's
but
such
always
a,
in the same
a
direction.
chorus. It's definitely
Yes,
like
it's very like no theater, and I did watch
Yes.
a little in the shower before this that said he was obviously inspired by no theater, which would have been,
yeah.
you know, a top cultural kind of.
Oh,
thing,
yeah.
in
I mean,
Japan.
he's also just very inspired by this is very inspired by, I can't remember, but it's a Russian story as well. He did an adaptation of Dostoevsky and Maxim Gorky's The Lower Depths, or some of his other films, and The Idiot.
And I think he was also very
Dostoevsky.
influenced by Tolstoy.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
I mean, so a lot of the Russian, and then a lot of Western thought as well, like literal Westerns, John Ford, like these guys out west. And certainly I think, like you say, It's a Wonderful Life, that was before this, and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, one of my favorite little tidbits in High and Low is one of the characters in there has his hair, like he had the hair department shave his hairline back an inch so that it would mimic Henry Fonda's in 12 Angry Men. So like he gets, and I think in fact this is some ways why he starts to almost fall out of favor in Japan after time, is because they start to think of him as almost too Western, and so it's sort of like, and that's so then the Western, you know, producers of like, then they kind of, he becomes almost more an international figure. And with really from Rashomon, though, he becomes like the name in international film. I mean, that puts Japanese film in general just on the map of just like people being like, oh, I need to pay attention to this whole country of film, which there is great stuff before Rashomon.
Absolutely. And I think that's like kind of an interesting and important thing to remember, that like, for example, like me, a dumbass American, seeing, you know, engaging with Kurosawa's work for the first time, starting with a movie like this, it's so easy to think of this as like very high art. And in reality, the likelihood is that the artist it was making, this is pop culture.
Yeah,
in
it's
a
like
lot of ways.
Spielberg,
and his
right?
reaction to Western pop culture.
Yeah, totally. And that's another thing with Kurosawa that I love, is because I feel like, because he's like a film name that people know as like, this is a name that smart film people would drop. Like if somebody's like trying to make...
He's one of the references in Rent's La Vie Boheme. I mean, anyone who is anyone gets a shout out in that. So,
Kurosawa, yeah, exactly, and to Sondheim as well. So I'm only obsessed with people who are mentioned in the La Vie Boheme. So Gertrude Stein, Antonioni, Bertolucci, Carmina Burana, Václav Havel, the Sex Pistols, 8BC, all of them.
And we all knew what 8BC is.
Yes,
that was the one that we all knew.
We did study some Václav Havel in
absolutely.
I assistant directed at Largo de Salado at college.
Yeah. Did we read another one in like that was like kind of in the
No, we read Largo de Salado, and then later
and then eventually
also got performed. Yeah, it got produced.
It got done.
It got done.
It was a nightclub. It was a nightclub in the East Village. APC.
Oh, okay. Anyway, he really is a populist filmmaker in a big way. Like, almost all, I mean, there's a couple of his movies that I would say, yeah, these are maybe a bit more arty, like maybe this isn't gonna grab you. Like, I wouldn't say somebody should have their first Akira Kurosawa movie be Dersu Uzala, which is his only non-Japanese language film, which is entirely in Russian and Mongolian, and it's about a Sherpa leading people through a dangerous trek out in the like Siberia, and it's really all about this like really cute old tiny man. I love that movie, but I don't think that should be your first one. But really, so many of the other ones. I mean, the only thing that would deter somebody would be the length, I think, but they're just entertaining, all of them. And but if somebody was like, let's say, one of these lazy posts where somebody is going to make fun of film bros, right? And they'd be like, oh, it's like film bros be like, oh, I love Kurosawa. And they would just like sort of say that as like, because that's a name you would drop and it just means you're really smart. And I think that it's like one of the, because there's plenty of like filmmakers I love, like Tarkovsky is a Russian filmmaker. Again, I don't necessarily think his movies are totally accessible, even his most well-known. Like, I wouldn't just suggest that to somebody who loves all the MCU films or something, necessarily. But Kurosawa, I would. I think anybody, you watch his big hits, like, this is, like, to me, it hits the same emotional, like, beats that, the universal, like, emotional beats that you feel from people that love a movie like The Shawshank Redemption or something. Like, one of these, like, broadly appealing dramas that like everybody can find something to love in this because everybody thinks about dying, right?
I'm curious what you think. Like, is that what this is about? I mean, obviously, it literally.
No, it's actually about living, because that's what Ikiru means to live.
Right. And it's the gerund.
Right, and so it is. Well, it's about what do you do with the time you're given and how much and how do you make an impact, kind of, right? And I think there's also a lot in there about needing empathy that's just kind of peripherally in there. Like, I think that's sort of like what happens with the son and stuff. Which we can get into if you want. His awful son. I mean, I do think Kurosawa has a thing for ungrateful children, like, for sure. Yeah. Because the son is pretty unsympathetic, but also I like how they sort of present that's another montage where they have like their whole history of the son and Kanji, I should say, that the character's name. Who also I want to shout out. There are two actors that Kurosawa worked with more than any. And they were Toshiro Mifune, who's not in this, but I feel a little bad that I didn't have you watch a Mifune one, because we could have watched Seven Samurai and you could have seen a lot of his legs and ass, which are quite good, and I feel like I robbed you of that. And you should check.
I'm allowed to watch movies.
That's true. You can watch them on your own,
on my own.
And he has just the best legs and ass ever in film.
And this is in Seven Samurai.
Yeah, and as well as Hidden Fortress, but Seven Samurai is even better, I think, for showing his whole ass a lot. Okay. But he is always kind of playing, well, not always, but he's frequently playing like a very like angry, fiery guy. He's like, he's also in one of the other Shakespeare adaptations. It's an adaptation of Macbeth, which you would really like, I think, called Throne of Blood. And he plays the Macbeth character in that. And he's awesome in that. The other guy he works with a lot is Takashi Shimura, who plays Kanji Watanabe, the star. He's in Ikiru, and I love him. And the two of them are both the leads of Seven Samurai, and he's sort of Takashi Shimura is like the lead samurai who's gathering all the other samurais, and he's just so great. But I like to call him Old Fish Face sometimes, because
oh my god,
he has an old fish face.
The fucking eye work.
Yes.
Like the gaze GAZE work of like just like
right, like just those sad eyes and the like face, like, and that's like one of like the best aspects of is like, again, we don't speak the language, but that cuts through like just his like despair that he can like show in his face, or even then the other side, just when you see him find these moments of like euphoria and joy, or like he has a new sense of purpose, like how he can just totally like read these on his face is really incredible. This is one of like even though this is maybe my second favorite Kurosawa film, it's probably my favorite performance in a Kurosawa film. I would say.
Okay.
Is Takashi Shimura in this. Another guy who I really love, I need to shout out, is Tatsuya Nakadai, who is he's a bit younger than both of those guys, and so it takes him a bit, but he's also in High and Low, and then he becomes, when he gets old, becomes sort of Kurosawa's guy, and he stars in Ran as well as Kagemusha, which is the one before that. So those are like sort of I could just list Japanese actors all day. I'm gonna stop.
Yeah, I don't know those ones. I didn't read that one.
But I have like, if you want to go down the Japanese, just let me know. Anybody, like seriously, nothing would make me happier. And this is a message out to anybody. If you know me vaguely, if you're my good friend, I'm looking directly down the barrel of the camera. If we just interact online, if you want to get into Japanese film, just chat me. Let me know what you want. A comedy, you want newer, you want older, let me know. I'll point you. It's my favorite. Like, yeah, you sort of alluded to this, that this is not, you've known me for many years, and this was not this has not always been my
This
obsession.
is development. This
was a few years ago when I made a resolution to watch 500 movies in a year, and I did. It was a part of that was I was like, I wanted to see a lot of the classic films, and I watched actually I think High and Low was the one that I was like, this is an Akira Kurosawa one, but I knew him from that he'd made all these samurai movies and stuff. What's this modern crime movie, which is what High and Low is. So it's funny that my two favorite Kurosawa are his two like very contemporary films. They take place at the time they came out. In the time they came out. What was I saying?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, just to run it back, like, to the discussion of like the accessibility of Kurosawa. Like, there are indicators that would suggest that Ikiru is or probably other work like his too. Just looking at some stills, there is such a like a very harsh cinematic style to it. It does kind of look and feel like an art movie.
Well, I feel like
that's just, I think, part of the style,
and also I think that's a product of Kurosawa's influence, right? Is I think that he made a lot of that like sort of visual vocabulary. Like, he's the one that initially like sort of pioneered a lot of this stuff. So now like. And every director's been influenced by him. Like you're not gonna find any director that would be like, Kurosawa's washed. He never made any impact on me.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, he's almost like an obvious choice, but he's obvious for a reason, because like everything is just so masterful. And he also he was a painter, and so he has a history of like painting. There's a lot about painting, and his second to last movie, Alex, is interesting. It's called Dreams, and it's basically a dream journal. It's like his dreams. It's like his dreams that he adapted and made into like films. And one of the dreams is he visits with Vincent van Gogh while he's painting I forget which one. It's like the lilies in the field or something. And he has the like bandage on his ear and everything. And Vincent van Gogh is played by Martin Scorsese.
Oh wow!
And but he's very, so he has that painterly eye, and it's very like the shot composition. I think that it was interesting to start with the contemporary and urban set one, because with his samurai movies, Seven Samurai, and also Yojimbo and Sanjuro, which are a pair of films. Those are like, you're seeing landscapes, and you're seeing the countryside, and you're seeing the whole town and things like that. And in these sort of urban contemporary ones, like High and Low is also urban, but it's talking a lot about class, and the protagonist of the story is very rich, and they sort of live above the whole town or city neighborhood. So there's almost a sense of like it's very open and airy where they are, and then as you get down into sort of more of the city, it's very cramped. And this sort of feels cramped the whole time in Ikiru, because he lives a very, I think, what's meant to be just like standard upper middle class, because he has position at this government agency now over time.
Right, and they do take care to show that he's not superlatively anyway, but they do, like with the younger female employee that he befriends at the end, that kind of like jumpstarts his spiritual awakening, for lack of a better term, that she compliments his home, that he has the generosity to buy her a pair of stockings because hers have holes in them. And again, it's like these little like touches and details that like absolutely would not stand out in the moment,
well,
but feels
also
kind of like
when he's like missing from work, right, and all the people at work are like, well, who's going to get his position when he goes? And it's like, oh, that's what everybody's like concerned about, is who's going to get to move up, and then who will get to move up to that person's position, and stuff like that. And that's, so you do get the, like, he's reached his ceiling for his career basically, because he's been in this department of public works or whatever it is.
Though not an insignificant role, it seems.
No, he's like he's risen to the top there, and that's also why his son is like, he's going to get a huge pension when he retires, and we can use that money to buy a house for you and me. And I mean, like, there's a bit of sympathy I can find for the son, because you get the sense that they've just never been close, almost in a way, like they've never connected, because as they show, the kid's mother died from a very young age, and his father maybe didn't really have that maternal instinct that the boy was needing. So he cared for his son, but it was always kind of at arm's length. Like, they show up
and then sent him off to war, but then they made the choice not to have him die at war.
Yeah. So he was conscripted.
So who are the people that Mitsuyo and his wife are having like dinner with?
So that's his brother. He also so that's not Kanji's brother, rather. It's Mitsuyo's uncle. I think they mention.
His dead mom's brother.
No, I think it's Kanji's brother, actually. I think it's Arlie guy's brother. I want to say, but they are scandalized, because they think that he is like going to spend all of his money, that like all of his inheritance, on this, sugar mama or whatever. Like,
he's being daddy. He's being sugar daddy too.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be a sugar daddy. And anyway, basically, he gets the sense of purpose that he's going to make the playground that these that will be like save this community. Basically, he sees right in front of his face, like when he's trying to be like, how do I leave something behind? How do I do something meaningful with my life? It's like he remembers all the way to the beginning of the movie. Oh yeah, I could just make this park that could really turn around this whole neighborhood for these, for all these children and all these families. And right,
all these hunched over women traveling in a group.
And right when he's resolved to do that, and he's like, all right, and he literally like walks out of the office to go get to work, the movie cuts directly to his funeral. which is the first time I watched it, I was like, wow, because like I thought this was, again, we've seen a few montages at this point. I thought, okay, cut to the montage of him getting it together, and it's going to be like all about
coughing a little bit, but I'll still pick up a hammer, the community,
or even just like getting all the other people in the office to care, and like all that kind of. And I think that like a more I don't know if it's conventional or maybe trying to be more overtly like sentimental first, which this movie is definitely sentimental to a degree, but I think if it was going to be overly sentimental, you maybe would have like really held the hand through that. But instead, it cuts to like the wake and all of the government workers, including the slimy deputy mayor and everybody that's there, and there's like and also the way that they sort of do the exposition of, because the deputy mayor there's like reporters that are like, is it true that he died in the playground and that was a protest because he didn't get enough credit for making the playground happen,
For getting it did, yeah.
yeah, it's like they say it right up front, and it's like, I love the local news in Japan
also,
there.
Also, and this is just my ignorance of like Japanese culture and traditions in 1953 or whatever, but like it was the wake at like
It was at their house, yeah. No, and that's
Okay.
traditional. That's traditional, actually.
And it does require the daughter-in-law and the son to
To receive
dress
everybody,
up.
yeah. And so
Right,
anytime
basically
somebody
dress
comes
up
and
like
visits,
geishas, yeah.
they have to get up and go to the door, and they have to be the ones to receive everyone. But no, that's actually all traditional, very traditional Japanese. A more modern, I should say, from like the early 80s, by one of my favorite Japanese comedy director, Yuzo Itami. His first film was called The Funeral, and that goes into even more details because it's a very modern cosmopolitan couple, and they buy like a VHS video that they put on that's like how to do your funeral, and they're like watching it, like taking notes,
that's cool.
having to remember all the traditions and stuff. It's a really funny scene.
That's really cool, yeah.
So
I wanted to just bring this up real quick.
Yeah.
It's the moment's passed, but you know,
No, do it.
whatever. The guy, so like we haven't really talked about the guy who occupies a lot of what seems to be the second act or maybe end of the first act. Basically, his drinking buddy. It's interesting that neither, like, these two transformational people for our protagonist journey don't come back at the end.
that,
And
yeah,
I feel like I that's interesting. It's definitely deliberate. It's so would not fly in a Western movie.
Exactly, and I think that would be the really sentimental thing to do. In fact, so I don't know if I told you this, but there recently, just a few years ago, was a very good adaptation of this film called Living, starring Bill Nighy from Love Actually and stuff, and he was nominated for an Academy Award, and the screenplay was nominated for an Academy Award. It was nominated for a Bobsker for the screenplay as well, because it was a really beautiful adaptation, because the man who wrote it, Kazuo Ishiguro, is a British-Japanese man, so he's a Japanese... his parent was a Japanese immigrant, first generation in England, and he grew up there as a Japanese British person, and he grew up on the films of Akira Kurosawa. And it's a very beautiful film because it makes it very British in the ways that this is all very Japanese, like in the way that the sort of bureaucracy gets like kind of talked about in this. The Living is very much more about like the British stiff upper lip and we can't deal with their feelings type of thing.
Right.
And so The Funeral there becomes a little bit more mawkish, I would say, like a bit more sentimental, and it does have like, I think the version of the young woman from that movie, I think, does come back in that and like talks to the son and stuff.
And
Like,
is that absolutely Amy Lou Wood from The White Lotus?
oh,
Is
maybe.
that
Are you looking at the
I'm
cast right
looking-
now? Probably.
She's in it, and so I'm mentioning the
Probably.
she played, and probably Tom Burke, who I've never heard of before.
Is the son?
But he looks familiar. Or either the son, or no, Alex Sharp probably would have been the.
Well, in the British
the Tallman
and
that
Living
he
also
drinks with.
makes the like protege employee a bit more important. Like there's the one employee that is like very sort of sad the entire time and is like constantly like calling all the other guys out on their shit about how they don't understand how, you know, Kanji was such a special person, and they're also debating whether he knew he was dying. Like they and you know the reason that they're debating that is because they don't want to think that he knew. They don't want to like think about. They wanted this to be he randomly died. He didn't know he had this advanced form of cancer, which we should say actually, because he didn't know technically. His initial appointment, I mean, it's another really great bit of Japanese culture that gets shown. I don't think it's like this would literally happen. I mean, I don't know. But when he's
Aquafina in a movie who I know is not
Yes.
Japanese, but like
no, but it is an
the same
Asian
kind of
cultures
thing?
type of thing of like sometimes when somebody is very old and you know
Makes a
that
lot of
they're going to
sense to me.
die, they don't tell them or they don't fully communicate it. And while he's in the waiting room for his cancer screening or whatever, the guy says, if they tell you this, then that means you have very advanced cancer and you have about 6 months to live. And he goes into the appointment and the guy says, oh yeah, you have just mild cough, just you can eat whatever you want. Like, he says like all the phrases that the guy in the waiting room is like, if they say this, that means you're dying. And actually that's another really great facial reacting moment, is when he like first hears it, you see him be like like,
well, yeah, they play the whole scene, this guy's kind of rambling on, which I kind of have like a logic issue with. Why is there just the doctor whisperer sitting in a waiting room, like telling people well, fine,
a bit convenient. Yeah, sure.
But yeah, like the whole scene though is played very, like, I don't know, it feels stage directing in a lot of ways, because like it's like the whole time Kaji is slowly like basically every 30 seconds he like moves and then like moves down a row on the seat, and like the guy follows him, and it just feels very like directing final.
Kurosawa was very much known for his blocking. That's something that gets brought up a lot in High and Low as well, because High and Low, the first like third of it all takes place in this one room basically, but every shot is like a different angle, and how the people are positioned and when they move and where they move, it's like choreographed like so precisely. So yeah, it's for sure the case here as well. But yeah, so at the end of the movie they're like, well, he didn't know that he was dying, and also because the family didn't know, because he never told his son, and so they're like, well, he didn't know either. But then they start remembering, well, there was this one moment I have with him, and they remember, and that's when you sort of get those scenes in how the park came to be. But they're much more purposeful than if they had just been like that montage, like I was saying, that might have happened instead of actually remembering. And what you see is then each of these moments that he makes like the decision to, really fight for getting this done, putting his neck on the line, not worrying about upsetting the departments and the balance of whatever power that there is. And it's really, really, really cool. But yeah, you do. I mean, even this was my third or fourth time watching it when I watched it this week, and even then I was like, do really neither, just like you said, neither of those people from the first half of the movie. I mean, I think with the drinking buddy, like, how would he know, right? Like, it's not like they gave each other his number. It was like sort of a chance meeting with this guy, and they have a really wild time or whatever. But I didn't get the sense that then they were going to, like,
I guess it is just over one night, even though it feels, the way it feels in the pacing, it does feel like, oh, he's like a weekend at least, or a week away with this guy.
Yeah.
Who ironically does kind of, like, wait, holy shit, no way. Hold on 1 second, let me check something. Never mind. You know the guy who played, like, 12 years? No. Yes. 1905 to 19... The actor who played that guy, 1919. Yeah, 14 years. Okay, that makes sense. That guy looks like so much younger. He looks almost like Urban Outfitters coded. He like dresses exactly like a 2010s hipster.
Yeah, he looks like be like in his 30s at least, like early middle age maybe. But like, you also get the sense that he's kind of like a drunk and whatever, and this guy like comes into his path that's like, I have all this money, you want to spend it getting really loaded, and the guy's like, oh, all right, don't threaten me with a good time.
His character name is novelist. I don't know if that was ever introduced, but according to the internet.
Oh, there might have been something said by the bartender, like right in the beginning of that scene.
Like that he's some kind of like a Kerouac figure or something.
Yeah.
Or no, that's not what I'm talking about. The Fear and Loathing.
But yeah, so the
Hunter S. Thompson.
So they have this funeral for him, and they, through the course of the funeral, like, it's one of the great funny things in the movie is as it goes on, they do sort of realize, oh, this was a very great man and what he really did, and they all promise to be better, and how they're gonna change, and how they're going to try to make a difference at their job as well, and everything. And then the last scene is, it's the next day at the office, the new guy's taking over, it's like the exact same, and you see the one idealistic guy, he like gets up and he's like, you see he's about to like make a speech or something, like what about what we all said. You like expect him to start doing that, and everybody just kind of looks at him like he's crazy, and then he just like slowly sits down, and it's a great shot because there's a huge stack of papers on his desk, and he sits down and he starts to like sink below the stack of papers in front of him, and it's like, but after work you see he goes to the park site again where Kanji died, and his death is very beautiful. We'll actually talk about the song in a second, but he's just looking over at all these kids that are just playing on the park.
Yeah.
And it's like, nobody has to know. Like, that's the thing. I think that's one of the things, is it's like, again, is it a failure because he didn't change all these guys' lives, and now all these like government workers aren't going to, you know, make parks just like that all the time? And it's like, no, he did his bit. Like, he did a concrete thing to help people, that is, they are going to feel that help without even knowing that he was the one who did it for many years. And that's how it ends.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is like one of those like moves, which I think are totally valid, but where it's like, you know, will they have ever learned the lesson? It's a little too early to tell, but you can.
Mm-hmm.
You can learn from our Kanji.
Right.
It's not too late for you. It's going to be hard, but...
And, you know, maybe those guys at some point down the line, too, like, they'll remember, but who knows? But the point is, yeah, again, it's on you. And it's like, what can you do in your immediate vicinity to help someone or something?
Which is ultimately makes it lib-coded, I think. No, but it's not, though, because it's like a critique against the structure of bureaucracy as well.
Well, yeah, and I would say, if it's the biggest critique it has of bureaucracy is that the natural, and this is the thing that I certainly identify with right now, is that the natural order of people that are married to the bureaucracy first is inaction and you know, stasis, right? Like, that there's not an inherent problem with there being a bureaucracy, but when people only care about the bureaucracy itself, right, then that leads you to a state of just nothing, don't do anything.
Right.
Of just,
and not the outcome, the structure, right, not the substance.
Exactly. And I think,
I did write down in my notes, I said, here's a movie Congress needs to see.
I mean, Chuck Schumer, come on, you could build a playground right now.
You know, Bobby, that would be the worst thing to happen.
No, a playground is DEI, because they might allow non-white children on the playground. So,
and I also made sure to include that ACAB includes incense lighters. At one point at the end, the cop did come in to do a little incense.
Well, and the cop comes, and the cop's important because he is the one who, well, he didn't even discover his, but he saw him in the park just before he died, because so early in the movie, when he has his bender and he's at the Boogie Woogie Club and everybody's having a great time, then he has to kill the mood, because the piano player at the Boogie Woogie Club says, does anybody have any requests? And he says, I have a request, and it's this old ass song. Like,
just the most archaic
they said,
sounding
oh, it's
song.
that one from the 19 teens. Oh, I think I know that. It's like 1952, so this is like the equivalent of somebody
listening to you know, the Arcade Fire's first album.
No, it would be more like the equivalent of being like, you know, True Colors by Cyndi Lauper, actually, or something.
No.
Yeah, 40 years.
50s, right? I kept thinking in my head that it was the 30s.
No, it's 19.
There was a subtitle that said something about the 30s, and
it might have been either showing a flashback or referring to something. But no, it's supposed to take place in the present day. So that is 40.
Yeah, that shit sounds rackety and old.
Oh yeah,
and you keep going back to it.
And so he's playing the song,
and sound better.
And then everybody stops talking and listens to him sing this really sad song that starts, "Life is brief. Life is brief. Ye maidens, gather your something while you can," or something.
Yeah, get your love, fall in love while you can.
Yeah, that's basically what the song's about.
Sweet, yeah.
And everybody gets bummed out, and then his friend is like, "Let's leave." And he's very sad as he's singing it. And then when the cop comes, he talks about how he feels responsible because he saw him in the park and he didn't go to bring him inside or something, get him warm because it's snowing. And because he looked so happy and he was singing and he looked to be fine. So I didn't, intervene. And that's when you get it's just one of the classic images of cinema now forever. Him on this swing set, just swinging and singing this song. And now he's like so content as he's singing it. And you get this, and then he dies like right after he sings that song there. And you realize that like, death is the universal thing that we all are going to have to,
contend with.
Yeah, it's going to happen at some point for all of us. And that can be a really beautiful moment if you've, you're content in yourself then and what you did. And like even with like the stuff with his son, he left a like envelope for his son that's like, this is the instructions for getting the money. Like he knows his responsibilities. And I think he even maybe has a sense of like, I think that part of the thing with the son is that he feels partially responsible for their relationship being as strained as it is. And so he doesn't know how to almost repair it now, like at this late time. And so it's almost, and like, there is just such a sense from him that he doesn't have, like that was one of the things the stories I remember is him being like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time. And it's him just like watching the children or something play around and them being like, oh, isn't that nice? And he's like, I don't have time for this. And I'm like, wait, why don't you have time? Because he's dying. Like he's and so if he leaves behind something that's really meaningful with that time, that will speak louder. And of course the son is like, I should have, he's really regretful and everything. The wife is pretty unlikable.
Yeah, I guess that whole thing kind of was a blur, maybe because I hadn't seen it. Maybe I didn't see it a few more times or something. But like, also at the end when he reports, the son that is, reports to the wife that, oh, dad left me this information and shit like that. And he's like, one last cruelness or something like that. And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't understand. Where's the slight?
I know.
Like, it's moments like that where I'm like, I don't think I knew. I don't know what's real.
I would say that the cruelty in that sense is the not like talking to him about it, right? Like it was one more opportunity that he could have talked to him about, and I think that he's really upset that his father never told him he was dying, because when his father went to
try though, didn't he?
When his father went to tell him he was dying, he overheard his wife being like, when will your dad die already so we can get his inheritance? And it's like, then he gets really upset and doesn't tell them. And
then he fucks off to his minimalist room.
Right.
It's like a house filled with just like floors.
Right.
Which I know is Japanese.
They live upstairs, and then, I think like upstairs is where like the kitchen and the like eating area is, and then his room is like downstairs. Is sort of how it works. Yeah, but that's Ikiru. I'm trying to think if there's anything else left to say besides it's a beautiful film. Here on the Good Movie Chat About, one of my like guiding principles for this show is going to be that we're not like debating whether the movies are good. I'm going to try to select movies that have already been decided to be good. Now that doesn't mean that you have to like it, but it just means like, like The Godfather. Like if somebody doesn't like The Godfather, okay, that's fine, but it's a good movie. Like it's been decided that The Godfather's a good movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so this is a good movie, but what's your final thoughts on the experience of watching Ikiru, Alex?
Well, I will say that, like, for longtime fans of Lord Googoo, and by obvious extension, me, some of you may actually prefer me, and I understand that.
I know.
Who wouldn't? I've been often in the position, especially when this was dedicated to the business of producing musical theater, that to take a contrary stance in the marketplace of ideas.
That's true.
That musical theater is not actually in some good. In fact, most of it is quite bad. I do not think, and I don't think that about most music. Well, I do think about most musicals. Yes, I do. In this, no, I'm not going to sit here and be a heel. This was a really rewarding viewing experience for me, and it makes me. I mean, I feel stupid to not actually stupid, but like it's a shame to come on and talk about it without knowing as much as I probably will once I watch more of these movies, which I want to now, and have more detailed things to say. But
I mean, you're getting at the ulterior motive for this whole show is just to force my friends to watch. And that was also partially what inspired the choice, is I was like, there's no way I could ever, like, what's a movie that, like, this is the, like, golden ticket to get Alex to watch a movie that, like, he probably, like, if I was like, just watch this, Alex, it sounds good. Like, would it have, like, you know, in the way of like it's The Substance or something, where I'm like, no, you're gonna love The Substance, or you know, you should watch
but people don't like The Substance, though.
I know that's again divisive because it's very grotesque and also very heavy-handed, and it's on purpose, I think, on its imagery, but that some people don't like that. So, and again, I like a movie that is willing to lose some people. That makes me like it more, you know? Like, I'm like, that was part of what I loved about Mickey 17, is because I was like, people are seeing this that have only seen Parasite and don't know that Bong also makes really silly, like, sci-fi movies that have a very, like, obvious satirical bent, but he has just a great time and gets character actors to do batshit performances. And so that's partially, I was like, I love that, you know, he put a lot of money on the
I'm big time shrimp. I realized I deleted my only account that had my name.
Oh, okay.
So I don't even know if I'm a moderator of anything anymore.
No, actually, you have the moderator sword for Big Time Shrimp.
Snap! It knows it's me. BTS behind the scenes, Big Time Shrimp. Yeah, it's an interesting. I'll say that, like, on a personal level. It was kind of an serendipitous kind of, like, circumstance that, like, I have recently kind of crashed out emotionally over committing to, like, a bunch of, like, work related things, like, not just, like, my day job or, like, even the kind of writing I do for fun and to sell to Hollywood, but like taking on a bunch of, like, freelance shit and stuff like that. And it's like, oh my god, it was interesting to be like, yeah, he's kind of getting that too.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't take any time off work. He didn't, like, that's what he was famous for among The Office. Like, that's what they knew about him. And
he had never missed a day of work, yeah. And then he missed 2 weeks all of a sudden, and everybody's like, what the hell's going on?
Because he was fucking off. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of badass. Like, if it was any other, like, kind of directing style, or if it was, like, more Western, in some ways a more modern, like, like, in terms of, like, decade, you know, the way to do it would be, yeah, I'm the best guy at dumb job, and that's gotten me nothing. So I'm gonna. It's a little bit of Office Space.
I was just gonna say Office Space.
Like,
yeah,
he comes back and then he's like, you know, like, I'm gonna get this fucking park made, and I don't care what the rules are. They deprive us of that process, like you said, because, like, he goes back to work, and then we enter this, like, second part, and it's like people talking about him in a very 12 Angry Men style, which also I know there was like Japanese businessmen getting drunk and, like, keening, performatively crying at each other is also very interesting. And if I took anything away from this movie, that is that when I die, I want a bunch of men to sit on the floor and speculate about my death over tea and hot pot.
I will, as your friend, if you go before me, I will make sure that your wishes are respected.
Thank you. And see, that's allyship, you know, now more than ever. Also, yeah, let me make sure I got all my notes. They're not that good. Parks and Rec Cinematic Universe. Congress needs to see it. Incense lighters. Fucking Mitsui. Sitting on the men. Oh, the money, the yen to USD. I did those conversions because, like, I have a very specific kind of neuroatypicality, I think, which is like, whenever a number is evoked, especially in currency, I have to immediately know what it means.
So yeah,
and
I mean, this is something, because I watch a lot of Japanese film, and yeah, there's often I watch Japanese crime film and stuff like that, and so it's often like, yeah, a sum of money. And what I often think of it as, and I don't know if it's usually true, but is it's like, it's like if somebody like if when we had $100, it's like if someone was like, this is 10,000 pennies or something is $100,
Yes.
or 1,000 pennies.
Something like that, yes, because it was kind of jarring when you hear there's like a moment where the son and the daughter-in-law are speaking about a value of a house, and they said, "Oh, it was probably 500,000, but now I bet it's up to 700,000," which feels like very United States of America. But they're talking about yen, and just that's $3,800 and $4,200.
Yeah, right. Which and then yeah, I mean, what an American house probably cost at the time was probably like $5,000 or something like that. Like, you know, maybe because inflation. Like that's how much stuff used to cost in the 50s.
No, I think houses were that's more like a car. I think houses in the 50s were like $10,000 or $20,000 maybe. But who cares? That's not you don't want to put that political tag on your stream.
Look. You don't come back for another Japanese film. I learned a lot about Japanese architecture as well, like how they make it so that it's very easy to fall down in the event of an earthquake, and then very easy to put back up. So that basically they design a lot of their homes for, so that safety in earthquakes, like they fall apart on purpose. So that way, it's like
we gotta hit them with some of that really good Los Angeles.
Well, that
disaster proof.
It's different now. It's different now, but it's certainly back in this time. I do think now they have the earthquake type of stuff.
How shitty our houses are and how they just fall down.
Well, I mean, Alex, I welcome your journey into weeaboo status with me. Just kidding.
That's what it is, weeaboo.
Weeb.
Yeah, weeb. That's the term. Yeah, I don't know if that's the journey for me.
Well, it's funny because I know a lot of people that you would probably classify similarly, and they're much more on the like manga, anime kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I am just all in on Japanese film of all eras.
No, that's good. I think that's normal. I think
Kiyoshi Kurosawa is a modern. He's no relation actually, but Kiyoshi Kurosawa is a modern director. He directed this movie. Actually, this is a movie I would recommend to you, Alex. It's one of the best, maybe the best horror movie. Japanese horror movie, Cure. It's called Cure, one word.
C-U-R-E, like Cure.
Yes, that is an incredible work of horror. I mean, I love J-horror in general too. I love the Grudge, the original Ju-on the Grudge.
The Grudge was that's Japanese, not Korean.
Yeah,
because the Ring is Japanese. Yeah, that's right.
And the Ringu is as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was only until like later.
I actually prefer the Grudge. I also love. I love the Japanese Dark Water movie, but I think I'm more alone on that.
Oh wait, my mic isn't actually working. It's only above right now. That's what I was doing. Yeah, giving you the ASMR. Okay. So what? I should watch Cure. And then what's the next Kurosawa?
Oh, the next Kurosawa for you.
Seven Samurais to see that ass.
Yeah, I think probably Seven Samurai.
Because I googled it. The ass.
You googled the ass.
I dropped it in the Discord actually.
And then
screenshot of
the last
ass Toshiro Mifune 7 Samurai.
The last Japanese movie I'll recommend to you is the best known Juzo Itami film called Tampopo, which is about Tampopo, Tampopo, and it's about which is a woman's name. It means sunflower, but it's also the name of the woman who wants to be a very good ramen chef. And it's about this man who's going to help her be a ramen chef, and it also has little like unrelated sketches throughout the movie that are just like about Japanese food culture, or just food culture in general. Just the like. And that's a very, very fun movie.
So that's a lot like the Jerry Seinfeld breakfast cereal.
Yeah, it's actually, I think that on, what was it called? Unfrosted. I think that Unfrosted was actually, had a lot of Tampopo influence on it.
Are you being serious?
No.
Okay. Just like my parents who more or less have like as good a politics as you could hope for.
Did they love Unfrosted?
In their 70s. They literally they saw it once when it first came out, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna watch that because of Jerry Seinfeld. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, definitely for sure. And then like the other week they had friends over to watch it. But I get it. It's like, boomers hanging out with boomers. You're like, here's a guy that we all think is like, here's a guy from the TV
Well,
shows
that's
like
Seinfeld.
Seinfeld.
that is like Netflix movies
It's got
are.
everyone in it.
Well, that's more what it's like.
Yeah.
What it is, right? It's like,
Right.
and that's sort of how they almost make the programming decisions, is based on like the algorithm of like, we've seen that XYZ actor and like, if we get that actor, that director, this, and then we put them together and it looks like this, like these many people will watch it. And it's like, what it never factors into any of that is like, what's good? What does somebody want to make? What would be like a good thing that's like original? Like, that's never in the algorithm. So it's more, but like with Jerry,
A pardon on Charlotte. I mean, like,
all of freaking like LA, like every
all the
comedic
funny
actor
people.
is in it. So,
But on Google, it's always very funny.
I think
like,
that
Bill Burr's in it.
aren't there like
Like-
the Lonely Island or like Snap, Crackle, and Pop in it? I believe.
Oh, I'm sure. But the first three people listed on Google are Jerry Seinfeld, Amy Schumer, and Sarah Cooper. So it's already just like, it's a 10 out of 10.
Sarah Cooper, I think she's still making the videos now, but I don't think they're getting the traction they were back in
Where she moves her mouth.
Yeah, I don't think Trump 2
Yeah.
is working as well for her as Trump 1.
No, it's different. Everything's a little different this time.
Yeah, people don't find it as funny maybe to just like mouth what the insane fascist that is talking about killing people says. It's not as funny now.
I don't know. That's pretty funny, Bobby, if you really think about it.
Yeah,
She's okay, yeah. Yeah, wow. Okay, so I'm gonna watch Cure and Tampopo and Seven Samurai.
Mm-hmm. Great.
It'll
I'm
take me,
very
like,
looking forward
7
to.
months, but
I mean, whenever. I think that those would be great, and they're different eras of Japanese filmmaking and stuff too. So
Yeah.
it should be cool. I mean, if you want to watch a modern Kurosawa, I would watch Ran. One of the color ones. Ran is very cool.
Rand Paul. Yeah.
And plus, you like Shakespeare and stuff, or like all that kind of.
No, I
stuff.
don't.
You don't have like a fondness for. Well, and I should talk about his third Shakespearean adaptation. Is it's less a direct adaptation. It's a modernized, almost like riff on Hamlet. It's like an adaptation of Hamlet in the same way that The Lion King is an adaptation of Hamlet. It's
Oh, dude, that just reminds me. We should go down a rabbit hole like that at some point, and that is obviously Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. I haven't seen it in decades, but I remember it being great. Despite Baz Luhrmann's like spottiness in some of his films.
I recently rewatched it. It's pretty
obviously the best movie ever. But then the Ethan Hawke Hamlet is wild.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Criterion a few months ago had modern Shakespeare adaptations that were modernized like as a collection, and they had that Hamlet in there.
But it's like modern, but it's like your Y2K modern.
Yes, it's like and it's very like digital filmmaking too.
Yeah.
And he does the to be or not to be speech in a blockbuster. And it's internal monologue as he's walking around.
Thank you.
As he's walking around the blockbuster. So it's funny how it was made to be very current and contemporary, but how now because he's walking around a blockbuster, it just makes it such a of its time thing. Like that's anyway. That's it is a cool one. But the one I was talking about, the Kurosawa movie, is called The Bad Sleep Well, and it is about Toshiro Mifune again, and he is taking revenge on. And it's also corporate bureaucracy because it's the corporation, and his father was like basically forced to commit suicide, more or less. And he takes a revenge on all the people that like sort of made it happen by. Well, I don't want to spoil it. It's really cool, but it's a good like, and also The Northman's another one that's like, it takes cues from Hamlet and then does its own thing with it.
Wait, what, the Northman, like that recent movie?
Yeah, Northman is very Hamlet.
I thought it was related somehow to. Oh, it's related to Ethan Hawke. Got it. Not and Hamlet. Not.
Oh yeah, and Ethan Hawke's in that one too. That's right.
He is. It's not Kurosawa.
But he's the dad that gets killed. But it's literally the same setup and when he
Bjork is in the Northman. I never saw it.
Bjork's amazing in the Northman.
And Anya Taylor-Joy and Nikki Kids.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Oh yeah, Nicole Kidman's amazing, and then she plays the Gertrude part, and like it's definitely Hamlet because when he confronts her at the end, he like literally is hiding behind a curtain and like comes out and confronts his mom, and it's like, yeah, this is Hamlet, but it's different. But
it's gonna be a little different.
It's gonna be different. So yeah, this was the show. I think you know I'll keep refining it. We'll keep working on it. But I think I'll be back next week with another one. I think Harrison, another one of the frequent guests of musical theater,
of boys.
Yes, one of the go-tos for musical theater is good. Actually, we'll be back.
Which one are you watching with him?
We're talking about a few things. We'll see. We don't know.
Okay.
He threw out Purple Rain. I kind of have a number of theater movies that I would love to talk about with him as well, because I love movies that take place in the theater or about theater.
Okay, no, first off, I'm calling bullshit on this. You can't give him a choice and
I assigned you. That's
prescriptive to me.
Okay.
You gotta make him
I'll
watch
let him know.
Something.
Okay.
No, he
doesn't get to choose.
But I just want the viewing public to know that this is the kind of bullshit I have to deal with, despite being, just down for whatever.
Well, I'll say that Harrison's already been on a bit of the same journey that I was on, where he's been more into he's got a Criterion and he's been buying more physical media. So he's started on the movie pilling.
Yeah, I mean, he's becoming a millennial. You know what I mean? Our little Gen Z.
He's 30 now. He's 30 now, so he that's what happens.
He's an elder Gen Z, and now he's like fully millennialing, and soon he will be the one whom's does Chugi.
Well, you posted cringe, and now you're Chugi.
Well, you posted cringe, now you're Chugi, sis, and that's that on that.
That is. We'll end it with this. This is Alex and my little parody that we came up with to boot Scoot and Boogie, which is
it's the whole song.
It's you posted cringe and you Chugi.
Now you're Chugi.
You posted cringe.
You guys like that at home. You guys really enjoy it.
You posted cringe and you Chugi.
Now you're Chugi.
All right.
You're gonna lose subscriber, okay?
All right. Well, that's the stream. I don't think anybody's streaming. Is there anybody I should raid that's even streaming at the moment? I don't even think.
I mean, let's not joke about raids right now. Send him to Hasanabi. It's very simple.
Oh, Pat's streaming. I'll stream. I'll raid our friend Pizza Suplex. Yeah, we'll raid Pat. All right.
Babies.
Okay. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye.
We love you. Bye. And rating. Oh, Alex, bye. Okay, bye.